So those who are online, can you hear me? If you can hear me, please. So we'll begin today's session with a short kirtan. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Jaya Giridharidhari Jaya Giridharidhari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Jaya Giridharidhari Yashodanandana Braj Janandana Yamuna Tira Yamuna Tira Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, louder please. Hare Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Srila Yuga Dharma Harinam Sankirtan ki Jai. Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki Jai. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. So welcome once again everybody to this wonderful session. We are discussing life lessons from Vedic scriptures. In the previous two sessions, we established, so this is a series which we are doing. It will run for a few weeks, and the most fortunate people will get connected to this series. As I was doing the kirtan, one verse of Srimad Bhagavatam was coming to my mind. That verse is in the 11th canto of Bhagavatam. It talks about how to worship the Lord in the age of Kali Yuga. Krishna Varnam Trisha Krishnam Sango Pangastra Parshadam Yajnai Sankirtanai Praya Yajantihi Sumedhisha. This verse says, Krishna, as you see in our altar, you can see the photo of Srimati Radharani. I think everybody recognizes her. Then next to Radharani is Lord Krishna. I think everybody knows him. Who is the person next to Lord Krishna? Okay. One opinion is Balram. Any other answer? Sri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Okay, that's another answer. Any other answer? So actually, sorry? Sudama. Good opinion. Maybe Sudama also. He has nothing. Poor person raising his hands like this and standing. Huh? Janak. Arjuna. Next to Krishna and Arjun. Sorry, Krishna and Srimati Radharani. Okay. Anybody online would like to say? I mean, you cannot see the photo. So how will you say? That's the question. Let me see if I have a photo with me. Give me a minute. This is only for the online people. I'll quickly see. Okay, I'm not able to find a photo. I will quickly search it online and show it to the devotees so that they can also take a guess. Yes. So I'm going to share my screen and show to the online people so that they can also take a guess. As you can see online, I'm showing you a photo. So we have Srimati Radharani, we have Krishna, and the next to Krishna is, this personality who is basically standing with raised arms like this. So whom do you think this is? People are saying this can be Sudama. Some people are saying this can be Balram. Some people are saying this is Lord Chaitanya. Anyways, the correct answer is Lord Chaitanya. So Krishna appeared this is just for your information. We will maybe introduce Lord Chaitanya in a separate session in the future, but this is for your information. So Krishna appeared in the age of Kali Yuga as Lord Chaitanya. There are various incarnations of the Lord. Some are Purusha avatar, some are Leela avatar, some are Yuga avatar, some are Shaktya avatar. There's another category of incarnation called as Chan avatar, or a hidden incarnation. In such incarnations, the Lord does not proclaim himself that, look at me, I'm God. He comes with a purpose to fulfill, to assist the people of that particular time, place, and circumstance, that particular age. Anyways, in Kali Yuga, if someone says I'm God, people cannot handle God also. That's why we have so many gods in every street. But he is Sri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So the Bhagavatam says, Krishna Varnam Tusha Krishna. That the same personality, Krishna, comes in a complexion which is not Krishna, that which is not blackish, golden kind of complexion. Krishna Varnam Tusha Krishnam Sango Pangastra Parshadam. He comes with his associates, companions, friends, weapons, everything. Yajnai Sankirtanai Prayar. So he starts the yajna, or the sacrifice, or the process of congregational chanting of the holy names of the Lord. When I said Yuga Dharma Harinam Sankirtan Yajna Ki Jai, it means the Yuga Dharma, or the activity which you do in this age of Kali Yuga to attain self-realization, is you get together like this, and clap your hands and chant Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. There is a power cut for those who are online. Hope you are able to still hear. So, Sango Pangastra Parsadam, Yajnai Sankirtanai Prayar, by the process of chanting the holy names of the Lord congregationally, sitting together. That is the most purifying process and the only possible in the age of Kali Yuga. We have scientific analysis of that, and we have Vedic references for that. And then a very nice point has been said that Yajanti hi Sumedhasha. So who will take to this process of chanting the holy names of the Lord in this age of Kali Yuga? Or who will take to this process of extracting life lessons from Vedic scriptures through the process of Sankirtan? Sumedhasha. Only the most intelligent people. I repeat, only the most intelligent part or section of this human society will take to this process of chanting the holy names of the Lord and deriving life lessons from Vedic scriptures. Therefore, it will not be an exaggeration to say that all those who are present here physically and all those who are online, you are amongst the most intelligent section of the human society. That is the reality. Today is a Saturday evening. You go out, a horrible environment is there, horrible traffic, horrible sense gratification. You could have been there doing something else with someone else, but you chose to come here. This itself shows that you are amongst the most intelligent people of the human society. So welcome to this life lessons from Vedic scriptures. In the first session, we established how to respond basically. And in the second session, we discussed this topic of when to apologize and when not to apologize. And we learned some nice lessons. And today's topic is a very, very interesting topic. I found it very relevant to everybody. Why do I suffer? Yeah. Is there anybody who is not suffering? Yeah, I'm not suffering. That's why when somebody asks, how are you? We say, fantastic, fantabulous, mind-blowing. You look at anybody's WhatsApp profile pic, it appears that they are coming from, I don't know which place. Or horrible, I don't want to speak about it, but I know some people who are going through the biggest calamities of their life. And those calamities are self-created only. Not that it is coming by destiny. They are responsible for what crap they are going through. But but when I look into their WhatsApp profile pics or when I call them, they behave as if they are like at the peak of their life. One person was going through so much personal and professional crap, but his WhatsApp status was, "This is the best year of my life." So either they are completely insane or else they have lost it, that they really don't know what they are going through. So everybody is suffering. And in one of the previous sessions, I explained that sufferings can be of three kinds. Number one, we suffer because of our own body and mind. That is called as Adhyatmik Klesh. I have a body, I get some pain here, I get some pain there. Adhyatmik, I have my mind. My mind is so much troubling me all the time. I want to get up early. My mind doesn't let me get up early. I want to do something. I don't have the determination to do it. Mind is causing so many problems. Next category of suffering is the suffering which I get because of others. How many of you feel you suffer because of others? Everybody feels. That is called as Adi Bhautik Klesh. There is one mosquito which can make me suffer. There is one virus which can make me suffer. There is one neighbor which can make me suffer. And there is one boss which loves me so much. So that's called as Adi Bhautik Klesh. And lastly, there is something called as sufferings which come because of natural arrangements or natural calamities. Like I'm going somewhere. I had a friend who he was going to give an examination, but earthquake came. Earthquake came and everything was okay. His bike fell down. Something happened. He lost his wallet in that earthquake. And that wallet had the examination hall ticket. So this is a suffering which is coming because of natural disturbances. I had another friend of a friend who went for a holiday in a particular sea beach and tsunami came. So they suffered so much because of that. They were stuck there. Never-ending holiday. They lost some family members also. So these are the various kinds of suffering. Now, Krishna has stamped this material world as Dukkhalayam. Ashashvatam. Yes. It is full of misery and it is temporary. Now, I'm not trying to paint a pessimistic picture of life. I'm telling you the reality. Wherever you go, people are suffering. And the main problems because of which people are suffering is diseases, old age, fear of death, and also birth. So birth, disease, old age, and death are the real problems of life because of which people are having this Adhyatmik Klesh, Adi Bhautik Klesh, and Adi Devik Klesh. So, therefore, I'm quoting some statements from the Bhagavad Gita. Externally addressing the immediate cause of suffering while internally acknowledging its ultimate cause makes life an enlivening journey. See, whenever we face any problem in life, our nature is to go to find, okay, why am I suffering? What's the cause? I'm suffering from corona. So this coronavirus is the cause. So many people invented so many things. Somebody invented somebody was talking to me that they have some kind of device which radiates some kinds of waves which kills the coronavirus. Somebody was saying, no, you wear this kind of mask. No, you don't go outside. And I have seen some insane people. Once I was traveling in the train, and then there was one lady who was absolutely crazy. Even if somebody would come and stop near her, she would take out the spray and spray it all out. And then if husband was sitting with her and if the husband would say, can you give me something to eat? Then she would say, first let's spray each other and then let's talk to each other and so on. I went to my sister's house once and then my sister told me, you stand at the door. And then she said that open all your clothes. And then she gave me a bucket full of water. She said to have bath outside only. And then she gave me a towel, and then she gave me, oh, after everything outside only, then you come into the house. So that much, I saw some people washing vegetables with Dettol. It was really crazy. So that's the immediate cause. This coronavirus or anything which is causing the difficulties, the immediate cause. But intelligent people will think that there is something beyond the immediate cause. Just like if you go to a physician, the physician will heal you, will try to give you some medicine. Suppose you have some boils on the skin. So he'll give you, apply this paste. But if he is a good physician, then he will try to go to the root cause of the boil. The root cause of the boil is that there is some impurity in your blood, because of which the boils keep coming. Some today here, today here, today here, today here. So how many times you'll keep applying paste everywhere? Today it came here, you applied paste here. Next day it will come here, you apply paste. That is a patchwork solution. So if he's a good physician, actual physician, then he will go to the root cause of the solution or the problem. So therefore, instead of finding or just focusing on the immediate cause, we have to try to understand the ultimate cause. So this session is meant for helping us to understand what is the ultimate cause why we are suffering and how we can overcome that suffering. Does this make sense?
Yes.
Are you all ready?
Yes.
We are not just trying to solve the immediate cause of the suffering, but we are trying to find out what is the ultimate cause of that suffering, how to go through that suffering, how to grow through that suffering, and how to overcome that suffering. So this is what we are going to discuss today. But before I start my discussion, I would like to take blessings from my teachers who have taught me so many things, because of whose guidance, mercy, I'm sitting here and I'm being able to share my experiences with you. I will try to seek their blessings and invoke their auspicious presence here by chanting some pranam mantras. Those who know this, they can repeat with me softly. Those who don't, just try to hear the sound vibrations very, very attentively. Om Ajnana Timirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupaha Kada Mahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guruho Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanusute Devi Pranamami Haripi Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vastadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamin Iti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangam Langhayate Girim Yat Kripa Tamaham Vande Shri Gurum Dinatarinam Paramananda Madhavam Shri Chaitanya Ishwaram Harihi Om Tat Sat. Hare Krishna. So, some more statements. As I was preparing for this session, I was just jotting down my thoughts. Endeavoring for happiness, attempting to avoid suffering is natural. Often, however, we don't get happiness we expect. And we can't escape the sufferings which we get despite our determined efforts. We make seamless plans, but sometimes it results in tragedy. Similarly, when good deeds are performed with integrity and good intention, sometimes it results in tribulations. And in such circumstances, we feel confused, we feel bewildered. We are not able to understand. We feel that I've done everything right. Why am I suffering? We feel that I made a perfect plan. Why am I suffering? So let's see what the experts have to say about this. When I speak about expert, I talk about the Vedic scriptures. I talk about the Supreme Lord Krishna. I talk about great personalities such as Vyasadev and others. So, I will just describe it like these, because these sessions are called as life lessons from Vedic scriptures. So I will just describe to you one incident which had happened 5,000 years ago. It's history. So there was a king whose name was Parikshit. Believe it or not, but 5,000 years ago, there was only one king. And he would rule the entire planet with the help of various subordinate kings. After Lord Krishna left this planet, a particular person or a particular age began, which is called as Kali Yuga. We are presently in Kali Yuga. There are 4 yugas: Satyug, Treta, Dwapar, and Kali. And there are different symptoms of different ages. So Kali Yuga is the best age, right? It's the worst age. It's like an ocean of faults. Kalera dosha nidhe rajan. Dosha nidhe means ocean of faults. So Parikshit was doing a world tour, and then he came across a man who was not having very good features. He was very darkish in complexion. He was not looking a person with integrity or character, but somehow he was dressed like a king. Sounds like our present day politicians. So he had no integrity of character, no personality of virtuousness, but he was somehow dressed like a king. And he had taken a sword and a stick in his hand, and he was beating a cow and a bull. So much so that the knees of the cow was bleeding, and the bull was battered and beaten black and blue in various places. So Parikshit, as soon as he saw that, he immediately stopped it. Parikshit was not like the present day governments. That, okay, you keep giving me your taxes and keep butchering the cows. The scriptures say that we have 7 kinds of mothers. Atma Mata, that means our present mother, the mother who gave us birth. Guru Patni, the wife of our spiritual master, is also our mother. The wife of the person or the lady who helped our mother while we were taking birth, Dhatri or nurse, she is also like our mother. Cow is also our mother because we take milk from her. The wife of the king is also the mother. The wife of any respectable person who has all the qualifications of a Brahmana, according to the 18th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, verse number 43. The wife of such a person also has to be looked upon as mother. And finally, the land where we have taken birth also has to be looked upon as mother. So we all have these 7 mothers. What kind of a civilization is that? Suppose your mother is able to serve you, but now she has become old. She's not able to serve you. Will you cut her and eat her? No. But that is what people are doing these days. Cow's milk is called as miracle food. Human body needs milk. But our biological mother, after a certain point of time, is not able to give us that milk. So we take help from the cow. Have you ever seen the cow drinking its own milk? Like it just gave some milk and it lapped it up? No. The cow knows. And have you seen a calf drinking all the milk which the cow has? The calf will die. Some people criticize they are pulling the calf away from the cow. But if you let the calf drink all the milk, the calf will suffer from indigestion and die. So the laws of nature are made in such a way that the calf is getting its milk, the cow is producing extra milk, and that is being used by the human society. And when you drink the cow's milk, your brain tissues become very fine, and you are able to understand these life lessons from Vedic scriptures. So anybody who is a virtuous person should not allow the killing of a cow. So therefore, Parikshit, when he saw that somebody was beating a cow, he immediately picked up his sword. Similarly, the bull. Did you know that 200 years ago, when there was no so-called green revolution, no fertilizers, no pesticides, did you know that a natural field of India was producing 50 times more grains than what it is producing now, with all the tractors, all the fertilizers, all the pesticides, and all the modern techniques of irrigation and agriculture and so-called green revolution? Did you know this? Primitive methods of agriculture, 200-300 years ago, this is survey. The land was more fertile and it was producing 50 times more than what it is producing now. And at that time, the only way of tilling the land was the bull. It has some mystical features. When a cow comes and thumps your field, mystical, the field becomes very pure. A field becomes very fertile. There is a scientific reason in that. The cow will do, or the bull will do, and they will drop some dung there. In the dung of the cow is a special insect which comes and makes a 1 foot hole in the ground, and that leads to so many other fertilization. It's a big science, actually. So bull used to be used for doing agriculture, and because of that, the crops were coming. And the cow was nourishing the people with the strength of milk. So therefore, the cow was considered as the mother. And because of the strength of the bull, people were getting food to eat. So he was considered as the father. These are not some sentiments, but these are some scientific facts. So when Parikshit Maharaj saw that somebody was beating the cow and the bull, he became so angry that he immediately picked up the sword and was about to kill that person. And that person was Kali Yuga personified. The age Kali Yuga had taken a form and he was doing all this. So according to Bhagavatam, the cow represented the earth and the bull represented dharma. So immediately he captured Kali Yuga, and then that's a different story. Kali Yuga surrendered to him. He could have killed Kali Yuga at that time. Then Kali Yuga wouldn't have arrived. But then, for a certain reason, which I will tell you towards the end of the session, you have to remind me, he left Kali Yuga. And then he started asking this cow and the bull that who has beaten you up and why are you suffering like this? Then listen to the very glorious, philosophical, and wonderful reply which the earth personified cow and the dharma personified bull gave. O greatest among human beings, the bull is telling, it is very difficult to ascertain the particular miscreant who has caused our sufferings, because we are bewildered, and by all the different opinions of theoretical philosophers. Some philosophers who deny all sorts of duality declare that one's own self is responsible for personal happiness and distress. Others say that superhuman powers are responsible, while others say that activity is responsible, and the gross materialists maintain that the nature is the ultimate. You see, 4 different reasons of responsible. Others are saying that the natural factors are responsible. Natural calamities are responsible. Others say that the consciousness with which you engage in doing various work is responsible. And some people say that the nature of this world only is like that there will be so many problems. So, question comes: who is the real cause? Or what is the real cause? We have to understand, just like I was giving the example of a physician, there is something called as an immediate cause and there is something called as a root cause. So all these explanations or the bull, the way he answered, they were all talking about the immediate causes. Someone may say that I'm responsible. Someone may say that I'm responsible. Someone may say my mind is responsible. Someone may say my bad habits are responsible. Someone may say my karma is responsible. Someone may say my neighbor is responsible. Hare Krishna, you can go out and talk on this. Someone may say somebody else is responsible. But all these answers are not correct until you recognize that nothing can happen to anyone without the sanction of the Supreme Lord or God. Nothing happens without his sanction. I'll give you one example. I think I gave it in one of the previous sessions also. Let's say there are two scientists. They are studying from the same university. They have the same competency. They are working for the same organization. They have the same lab. They have the same number of assistants. They have the same salary structure. And they have the same time to complete a particular project. Everything is same. Lab is same. Assistants are same. Facilities are same. Opportunities are same. The kind of education which they've gone through is also the same. But one scientist will make a breakthrough and the other will fail. What do you think is the reason? Logically speaking, everything is same. But what do you think is the reason? The reason is sanction of God. One person had a sanction and one person didn't have a sanction. So without the sanction of the Lord, nothing happens actually. The Bhagavad Gita in the 18th chapter talks about the various factors which cause a particular result. The Bhagavad Gita says that there are 5 factors which influence the result of any karma. The person who is working, the place where he is working, the intention with which he is working, the senses which are used in the working, and the sanction of the Supreme Personality of God. It is seen that sometimes 4 factors are correct, but if the sanction is not there, it's a failure. But it is also sometimes seen when the 4 factors are not proper, but if the sanction is there, then a person becomes successful. That's why we have that phrase, Allah meherban to gadha pehelwan. Yeah? Have you not seen such a person? There's a book called as Accidental Billionaires. How many of you have read that? So all the people who are mentioned in that book, they had no desire, no plan, no intention, and basically they didn't know what they are going to do. Accidentally they became. They were not the most talented people in their society. They were not the highly planned people they were not actually wanting to get all that also, but they got it because they had the sanction. The point which I'm trying to say that this bull and cow, they understood that the suffering which they were going through was maybe directly and immediately caused by Kali. But still, because they were devotees of the Lord, they knew that nothing could happen to them without the sanction of the Lord. So with that consciousness, they were not blaming Kali Yuga, but they were not blaming, but they were understanding that this has come by the will of the Lord. So let me accept it. So therefore, instead of hating a miscreant who has caused us some suffering, and the devotees maturely identify that the Lord has sanctioned it for their purification. This is the consciousness of a person who is highly advanced. Very recently, I met one person. They gave birth to a baby. And the baby had some terminal disease. Terminal. Like the doctor said, maximum 1 year or 1.5 years. The parents came and they asked, what is the fault of this innocent child? What is our fault? What is the child? Okay, we may have done something wrong, so maybe because of that. But what is this child? Why is this child suffering? Another case, somebody is born blind. So what is my fault? Why did this child why was this child born blind? Another person has taken birth in the house of Anil Ambani. So one person takes birth in the slum of Dharavi, and one person takes birth in the house of Anil Ambani. Do you think these things are random? Like randomly, God plays dice with the world. Like 6 has come. Okay, you take birth in the 6th house. Okay, now 10 has come. You take birth in the 10th house. Is this happening? No. There is a reason. Nothing happens by an accident, and there is a reason behind everything. And devotees understand that. How a devotee thinks, a devotee of the Lord who has studied the Vedic scriptures and was derived life lessons from it, thinks that it is because of my own doings. There is a very nice another historical incident which I'm now going to read. Dhritarashtra. How many of you know who's Dhritarashtra? How many of you don't know who is Dhritarashtra? The father of Duryodhana and the other 199 brothers of Duryodhana. So he once asked Krishna that what was my fault? I was born blind. I faced so much of politics in my own house. I was deprived of my throne of my father, which was actually meant for me. I'm the eldest son. And in front of my eyes, all my 100 sons died. What is my fault? I am faultless. So then Krishna explained to him that 50 lifetimes ago, you were the son of a hunter. And when you were a small child, when you were not a small child, actually when you were a teenager or something, you climbed a particular tree, and in that tree there was a nest, and that nest had 100 eggs. Just for fun, you broke all those 100 eggs and killed all the small birds which were there in those 100 eggs, and then you burnt the nest also. So because of that, you are suffering now. In front of your eyes, 100 sons have died. And because you burnt the nest, so you were born blind also. You couldn't see anything because those birds couldn't see anything before opening their eyes. So you are suffering like that. And then next question was Dhritarashtra asked that if it is my own doing, then why 50 lifetimes I waited? Why not immediately at that time? Why not next life maybe? So Krishna said that all those birds were male birds. You require a lot of piety to get a male child. So 50 lifetimes you spent to achieve or earn that piety by leading a pious life. And when you had the pious credits of having 100 sons, then I recreated that situation so that you could feel what that bird had felt. This is called justice. So sometimes some people feel there's no fault of mine. Why this child is born like that? Why did my very nice friend, he did nothing wrong in his life. Why did he die like this? We have to understand that we as people should not see a particular snapshot of our life. We should see ourselves as spiritual beings who have many, many lifetimes. We are spirit souls and we are passing through various bodies. And in various bodies, we have done various kinds of karma and we are responsible for it. And they say what happens in, name one city. Okay, don't name it. Anyways, they say what happens in Las Vegas remains in Las Vegas. But that is not the case with karma. What you do in one lifetime follows you like a witch to the next lifetime also. Sometimes people say why bad things are happening to good people and good things are happening to bad people. That's also karma. Suppose you're a farmer and for 4 years you made very nice crop harvest and you have a great granary, and from every year you'd get the harvest and you pour it from the top. And then the ladies of your house will open the small door from below, take out the grains and cook. But the 5th and the 6th year, you became lazy, you got into bad habits, and the crop became infested with germs and you didn't do proper harvesting. So very bad rice or very bad wheat came, full of germs. But still what you did, you brought whatever happened and you put it from the top. So a person who is seeing, he's seeing, those see what third-class quality wheat and rice he's pouring from the top. But such nice rice I'm getting to eat every day. Why? Why? Tell me. Did you understand?
Mm-hmm.
He's in the first 2-3 years, he put nice wheat in that box. And from down they are taking out. It's a big box which can hold some 500-600 kgs. And in the 4th year, he put infested wheat, third-class quality wheat. And a neighbor is saying he's putting bad quality wheat, but still his roti is so nice. Why?
The nice one is already present there.
Yes. So karma is like a pipeline. Sometimes we see some people murdering and doing all kinds of bad things, but we see that they're progressing in life. Correct, no?
Yeah.
Why is it so? Because in their previous lifetimes, they have done something. So the farmer who has put the grain or the wheat on the 4th year and the 5th year, do you think he'll be forced to eat that for 4 years?
Yes.
Obviously. So similarly, one who is murdering and doing all those things, he'll be forced to go through the result of that. Similarly, sometimes it happens. Now the next case which I want to discuss is how to understand and how to. Sometimes we see that good people are also suffering, devotees of the Lord are also suffering. How to understand this? So let's start the discussion for that. This discussion is very important. I want all of you to pay attention. Coming back to that bull and cow discussion which was happening with Parikshit. At the end, the bull says, there are also some thinkers who believe that no one can ascertain the cause of distress by argumentation, nor know it by imagination, nor express it by words. O sage amongst the kings, Parikshit, judge for yourself by thinking over all this with your own intelligence. Thus, indirectly, the bull personified, dharma personified, indicated that ultimately God is the cause of all causes. He didn't say that because of this Kali Yuga I am suffering. Look at the consciousness of that bull. Such advanced consciousness. Now somebody has brought a letter. In that letter it is written, your mother has died. Why do you want to beat the postman? It sounds very ridiculous, but that's what we are doing. Whenever something bad happens to us, or when somebody speaks badly to us, we don't think that I had spoken badly to someone. My karma is coming back to me. This person who is insulting me, provoking me, is just an instrument. He's the deliverer of my karma. He's just a postman. Why should I beat him up? Rather, if I beat him up, I further intricate my karma cycle. Rather, if I just tolerate it and go through it, I have nullified that karma. I have gone through it, grown through it, evolved through it. This is called mature consciousness. This is what we learn from the Vedic scriptures. So therefore, the Bhagavad Gita also says, there is a very nice verse in the Bhagavad Gita, 2nd chapter, sloka number 14. Matra sparshastu kaunteya sitoshana sukha dukkhadaha agama paino anitya stam stitikshasva bharata. Krishna says to Arjuna, O son of Kunti, the non-permanent appearance of happiness and distress and their disappearance in due course are like the appearance and disappearance of winter and summer seasons. They arise from sense perception, O scion of Bharata. One must learn to tolerate them without being disturbed. Krishna doesn't say that you become so passionate that you try to solve all the problems of your life. He says some problems have a solution. You just have to tolerate it. This is a very, very subtle science which many people do not understand. Suppose you're trying to clean a room which is dirty from many, many years. When you pick up a broom and when you try to clean, the dust rises. And for a moment, it appears that it has become more dirty. What is the solution to this? There's no solution. Just have to put a face mask and continue cleaning. That means just tolerate it. But the modern approach is change the room. Correct, no? Change the room. Dust is there, change the room. Summer is there, put AC. Winter is there, put room heater. There's no question of tolerance. There's no question of tapasya. A man who is a sober man, a man who is a progressive man, an experienced man, he will have bath with water at 5 a.m., both in summer as well as in winter. Sometimes he'll feel happy, sometimes he'll feel chilled. But he will continue to do that because the call of duty which he has is higher than this temporary happiness and distress. This is the consciousness of Bhagavad Gita. Bhagavad Gita doesn't tell you that run to solve all your problems. It tells you that sometimes you have to tolerate your problems. That's what he says. One must learn to tolerate them without being disturbed. There's another verse in the Srimad Bhagavatam, which Lord Brahma is praying to Krishna. He says, Tatte nukampam susamekshamano bhunjanevatma kritam vipakam hridvag vapurbhir vedadhan namaste jivetayo mukti pade sadaya bhak. Listen to this very, very carefully. Such a beautiful verse. This verse is the summary of today's session. Why do I suffer? In fact, this verse tells you what should be the attitude of suffering, because suffering is inevitable. Dukkhalayam. This world is a dukkhalayam. A person who thinks that I will not get any suffering is a madman. But then how to grow through this suffering and how to overcome this suffering? What is the attitude of suffering is there in this verse. First hint we got is that we have to learn to tolerate. Of course, whatever is humanly possible from my side, I have to do. But even beyond that, after that, we see sometimes that the suffering go above our head level. You have to just tolerate. Now, this verse of Brahma, as he's praying to Lord Krishna, speaks about the attitude of suffering. Please listen very, very carefully. My dear Lord, one who earnestly waits for you to bestow your causeless mercy upon him, all the while patiently suffering the reactions of his past misdeeds and offering you respectful obeisances with his heart, words, and body, is surely eligible for liberation, for it has become his rightful claim. This is the attitude of suffering. If some suffering has come in life, whatever is possible from my side, I will do. But still, even if after that some inevitable suffering is coming, then what should I think? God is so bad. He's giving me so many sufferings. Change God. Now Radha Krishna, change it. No. He understands that this is because of my own past misdeeds. And in such situation, his devotion or his consciousness does not get degraded. Rather, in such a situation, growing through that suffering, and growing through that suffering, he continues to offer mind, words, and body and his actions to the Lord. And in this way, he continues to suffer. So, the Bhagavatam says, such a person is surely eligible for liberation, for it has become its rightful claim. Now, I'll tell you another short story by which this point will become very clear. Many thousands of years ago, I think in the age of Satyuga, there was a place which was called as Avanti. It's still there. Now it has a modern name. And there was a Brahmana whose name was, actually the Bhagavatam says Avanti Brahmana, the Brahmana who stays in the land of Avanti. He was a very rich, resourceful Brahmana. But his only problem was that he was a big miser, conjuice. And he was harsh at his speech. And he never gave his property and wealth or shared his property and wealth even with his family members. So after some time, he lost all his wealth and property. So naturally, his family members threw him out of the house. And then he started getting very bad treatment. when he would beg for alms and when he would try to eat it, people would take the food from him, throw it, give it to the dogs. Sometimes they would urinate in the food which he was about to eat. They would throw stones at him. They would pass air at him. They would throw garbage at him. When Avanti Brahmana was going through all this, he had a beautiful realization. He thought in his mind as follows. Please listen to the realization of Avanti Brahmana. He realized the following. The Brahmana said, these people are not the cause of my happiness and distress. Neither are the demigods the cause of my happiness and distress. Nor is my own body the cause of my happiness and distress. Nor the Graha Nakshatra are the cause of my happiness and distress. Nor the past work or time is the cause of my happiness and distress. Rather, my mind alone is the cause of happiness and distress and perpetuates the rotation of material life. It's a beautiful realization that suffering is there in the mind, actually. The same water in the month of summer gives so much happiness. It's a sensory perception, but the same water in the month of winter gives so much distress. You don't want to put one mug also. So it's a sensory perception. How many of you like gulab jamun? Please raise your hands. It gives you happiness, right? I'll prove it to you that this happiness is in your mind, not on your tongue. Suppose you're putting this gulab jamun on your tongue. It has just touched your tongue, and the tongue is feeling the crispy nature of that slightly hot gulab jamun. And then you've started to crush it with your teeth, and the juice has come out and spread all over your tongue, and you're feeling very happy. And then you're chewing it, you're feeling very happy. But then someone comes running to you and tells you, I just got an email that you lost your job. What will happen to that taste?
Just vanish.
Taste will vanish. So that sensory pleasure which you are experiencing is manasi jam. Jam means birth and manasi means mind. It is on a mental platform. Did you understand this? Yeah. So Avanti Brahmana realized. Therefore, in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, Bandhur atmat manastasya yenat maivat manojitaha anat manastu shatrutve vartitat meva shatruvat. One who has controlled his mind, the mind is his best friend. And one who has failed to do so, the mind is his worst enemy, and he lives 365 days, 24/7 with his worst enemy. How is that a proposal? You live with her enemy 24/7 for 365 days. It can do anything to you. I had a friend, his daughter, she got used to drugs. And her mind compelled her so much for that drug addiction that she tried to burn herself alive because she was not getting drugs. This is what the mind can do to you when it is not controlled. So therefore, controlling the mind is an urgent necessity, and happiness and distress can be perceived in various ways, or in the proper way or the sober way when your mind is controlled. So this verse in which Lord Brahma is speaking to Krishna, that your devotee earnestly waits for you to bestow your causeless mercy upon him. God will bless you with not because you are a great poet or a great bodybuilder or a great money earner or a very famous person. No, God's mercy will come on you causelessly, without any reason. So one who earnestly waits for you to bestow your causeless mercy upon him, all the while patiently suffering the reactions of his past misdeeds. That means not blaming God, understanding that it's my karma coming back to me, and offering you respectful obeisances within his heart with his heart, words, and body is surely eligible for liberation. So this is the consciousness by which we should suffer in life or grow through that suffering. Now, as I said, when suffering comes to us, we should not be like, "Ha, jao, aane do, take me over. Please come and blow me. Anyways, it's coming by the will of God." No. You have to do whatever is possible from your side. Basically, it means that you have to do what is in your capacity. Another example. This is life lessons from Vedic scriptures. We give reference from Vedic scriptures. Come to the point, Krishna Janmashtami is coming 19th of August. So I'll narrate to you one incident which is related to the advent of Lord Krishna. Kamsa loved his sister Devaki. And when she was getting married to Vasudeva, he became the chariot driver out of love for her. But as he was driving the chariot of his sister and brother-in-law, an Akashvani happened in which it was told that the 8th child of your sister will be the cause of your death. Immediately the scene changed. Just like the Gulab Jamun scene changed. Similarly, immediately the scene changed. And then Kamsa threw the chariot which he was driving. This is the difference between a devotee and a non-devotee. A devotee is paradukha dukhi. Think about Devaki, who lost all her sons. And when Vasudeva went and swapped Krishna with the daughter of Mother Yashoda, Devaki had known that it is not my daughter. And she had just lost so many sons. But when Kamsa tried to kill the 8th daughter, she came forward and tried to save the child. See the consciousness of Devaki. Can you imagine a mother who has lost 7 children? You cannot imagine. But now here is the 8th child who is not even hers, but she's trying to save her. Why? Because devotee is paradukha dukhi. Devotees are sad when they see others sad. But here is Kamsa, a non-devotee. He's not a devotee of God. He's not a devotee of Krishna. So he sees that my sense gratification is being compromised, kill my own sister. Immediately he held the hair of the sister and was trying to slit her throat. So Vasudeva was there. He was a God-realized man. He was a devotee. He could have thought this is happening by the will of Krishna. Let my wife die on the first day of marriage. That's my freedom again. He could have thought like that. But he didn't do that. He understood that whatever is happening by the will of the Lord. But then he did whatever was possible from his side also. See, Vasudeva couldn't have stopped the killing of his 6 sons. Vasudeva couldn't have probably stopped the imprisonment. He knew whatever has to happen will happen. But he tried his best. And then a very famous section comes, Vasudeva comes a Samvad, where Vasudeva tries to glorify Kamsa. Kamsa has no good qualities. But Vasudeva is trying to glorify Kamsa because demons are like that. Demoniac people, if you glorify them, their ears will open and then they'll start to listen to you. Yes, you are the only person who has understood me. Tell me, how can I? And they have that Ishwar Bhav. Let me maintain you. Come, I'll give you shelter. So demoniac people are like that. The lesson which we can derive from this is Vasudeva saw that it is important for his wife to be alive because this is what is needed to protect the interest of Krishna. To protect Krishna and to protect the interest of Krishna, that is what is needed. So therefore, Vasudeva was an honest man. He was never involved in politics and diplomacy. But to save the interests of Krishna and the devotees of Krishna, he engaged in diplomacy. He falsely glorified a demoniac person that you are such a great person. And then he saved his wife. The point which I'm trying to highlight here is that everybody should use their nature in the service of the Lord to protect the interests of the Lord. This consciousness is called Krishna consciousness. And this is how we have to go through the suffering also. If some suffering comes, whatever you can do from your side, under the guidance of Bhagavad Gita, And under the guidance of highly advanced spiritual people who are around you, take guidance from them. Don't take guidance from newspaper, or don't take guidance from other people who are sense gratifiers. Take guidance from a spiritually elevated person who is not affected by that emotion which you are going through and can see all the spiritual angles and the material angles of the problem which you are going through. So take guidance from such people. Take guidance from a proper representative of Bhagavad Gita. And then from whatever is possible from your side, you do. And after that, whatever comes, grow through it, go through it. Without losing faith in the Lord and offering your mind, body, heart, and words to the Lord. This is the attitude of suffering. So, something which I derived as a lesson from the Dhruva pastime. You all remember Dhruva was mistreated by his father. So he went to his mother, but his mother taught him very nice things. She told him, never desire harm for others who might have caused you pain. These days, movies are coming out where if somebody hurts me, I plan a revenge and I take over that person and I defeat him, and that's the movie. And everybody claps. Pays 200 rupees for the movies, 500 rupees for the popcorn. But this is not what the Vedic scriptures teach us. They teach us that even if somebody harms you, you do not desire harm for them. Why? Because everyone suffers for their own misdeeds. The laws of nature and the laws of karma will take care. You do not become the deliverer of somebody's bad karma. I was talking a few days ago, somebody was quoting the example of a movie. That movie was Aparichit. People are doing sinful activities, and then there is one person who thinks that he's the deliverer. He's reading various scriptures and killing people accordingly, as if he has been appointed to do that. So you do not become the deliverer of somebody's karma. Even if somebody harms you, you do not wish bad for them. Of course, if you're an suppose if you're a police officer and if somebody is doing something, whatever is your duty, you do. But from your heart, you don't hold any grudges against them. Because whatever they are doing, laws of nature and laws of karma will take care. And whatever may be your desire, this is what Dhruva's mother told him, that whatever may be your desire, you need to approach the Supreme Lord and serve him, ask that desire out of him. And if he feels it is okay for you, he'll give it to you. So situations are not in our control, but responses are. So therefore, in the first lesson, how to respond effectively, we made this conclusion. Mistreating others or being mistreated by others is common in life. One may do it by one's words or behavior, unknowingly or even knowingly. Blaming, arguing, and lamenting in a natural calamity are natural in a calamity, but one should surpass that stage to maturely consider what is best to do in a particular situation. And the best thing to do in any situation is to take shelter of the Lord, simultaneously doing what is humanly possible from my side. So even if your situation is a hopeless situation, suppose you're standing at the sea beach and a 200-meter wave of tsunami is coming, what can you do? All your WhatsApp will not work. All the crores of money in your account will not save you. All your double PhD will not save you. All your fan following will not save you. Your gun will not save you. So whatever is possible at that time, you do. At least you can save some other people. At least you can try to see how to minimize the damage. Whatever is possible from your side, you do. But at that time, this is a hopeless situation. What can I do against the 200-meter high wave of tsunami? This is a hopeless situation. But in this hopeless situation, I can get hope by taking shelter of Krishna. That is what Prahlad did. When his father was putting him in a big pan full of oil burning at 2000 degrees centigrade, is there any hope? But Prahlad took shelter of the Lord. That's why we are talking about him today. So every hopeless situation can become hopeful when we take shelter of the Lord. So therefore, coming to the question, with this background of understanding, coming to the question, why do devotees suffer? Actually, devotees never suffer. Who is a devotee? Anybody who chants the Hare Krishna Mahamantra even once is a devotee. Can we all chant once? Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram. This is the most liberal definition. Don't take advantage of it. Yeah, 2 years ago, I chanted, I'm a devotee. Krishna says, Satatam kirtayanto maam, yatantascha dridhavrata. Namasyantascha maam bhaktya nitya yukta upastate. Tesham satata yuktanam bhajatam priti purvakam dadami buddhi yogam tam yena maam upayam. Krishna says that those who worship me, serve me with love and devotion regularly and continuously. Tesham satata. Not that once in a year on Janmashtami. No. Tesham satata. Every day you take out 10 minutes time and chant Hare Krishna. Every day you take out 10 minutes time, read Bhagavad Gita. Every day or every week you take out 2 hours time and come for this life lessons from Vedic scriptures. And every week you come out, take out time. In fact, we encourage you, you come every day. We'll give you prasad here. Come here, take some Krishna prasad, chant Hare Krishna, read the Bhagavad Gita, be peaceful. This is our policy. This is our recommendation. So you have to do this sadatam. Then what Krishna will do? Dadami buddhi yogam tam. He will give you the intelligence by which you can, come out of this puzzle, which is called as life. You can go back home, back to Godhead, from where we have originally come. We are meant to be with Krishna. We are meant to sing with Krishna. We are meant to dance with Krishna. We are meant to eat with Krishna. We are not meant to go through this birth, death, old age, and disease. This material world is not our home. Our home is the spiritual world, about which Arjuna and Krishna himself talks in the Bhagavad Gita. Na tad bhashayate suryo, na shashanko, na pavaka, yadgatva na nivartante, tadhama paramam mamaha. Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, na tad bhashayate suryo. My supreme abode is so inconceivable and so wonderful that there is no need of sun, there is no need of moon, there is no need of fire, and there is no need of electricity. Why? Because I am there. So everything is self-effulgent. Yad gatvana nivartante. Any person who once goes there, yad gatvana nivartante, he never returns. Have you heard of any holiday destination where you have gone, where someone has gone and never returned? You'll be forced to return. Your money gets over, you have to return. Similarly, there are various planetary systems in this universe. We are in the Bhulok. Above us is the Bhuvarlok. Then there's the Swargalok. Then Maharlok. Then Janlok. Then Brahmalok. Below us is Atal, Vital, Talatal, Rasatal, Mahatal, Patal. So 14 planetary systems are there in this universe. You may go to the Swarga, where the lifestyle is 10,000 times better than Earth. But Kshine Punya Martya Lokam Tam Vishanti. The Bhagavad Gita says, when your pious credits are over, when your punya is over, you'll have to fall back again on Earth. But what is Krishna's Krishna Loka? Krishna's Dham, spiritual world, Vaikuntha? What is that? Yad gatvana nivartante tad dhama paramam. One who goes there, he never returns. Do you want such a holiday trip? How many of you want to go to Krishna Loka? Please raise your hand. You'll go there and you never need to return. This is the goal of life. We don't want to become Indra. We don't want to go to Brahma Loka. When you read the scriptures, the opulence described in Brahma Loka is unimaginable. The opulence of Kailash is unimaginable. But all these are part of the material world. We need to go to the spiritual world. So, devotees of the Lord are actually not suffering. The moment one surrenders to Krishna, Krishna takes charge. That's why he says, Sarva dharman parityajya mamekam sharanam braja aham tvam sarva papebhyo mokshayishyami ma shuchaha. Just abandon all varieties of religions and surrender to me. I will give you freedom from all sinful reactions. Do not worry. Don't have any doubt whether I can do it or not. I will do it. Only Krishna can speak like this. Indra cannot speak like this. Brahma cannot speak like this. Even Lord Shiva cannot speak like this. Only Krishna can speak. Only the Supreme Lord can speak like this. So whenever you surrender to Krishna, how many of you want to surrender to Krishna? So please fold your hands and say with me, Oh my dear Lord Krishna, from this moment, I am yours and you are mine. That's all. Done. You have surrendered to Krishna. You have to have faith. Krishna will take care. Even if once somebody surrenders to Krishna, he will take care. You are his property now. Now, he sees that there is lust in your heart. There is greed in your heart. There is anger in your heart. With all this lust, anger, and greed, you can't go to spiritual world. You'll be a problem. Yeah? So Krishna gives you some treatment, which is not karmic reaction. Please understand. Krishna gives you some treatment by which your heart becomes pure. And the enjoyer mentality which you have, it gets neutralized. So therefore, devotees are not suffering. Those who are not devotees, they are suffering according to their karma, like Dhritarashtra. But those who are devotees, like the Pandavas, or Kunti, or Prahlad, Dhruva, they are not suffering. It is a personal dealing which the Lord is doing with them to remove the last vestiges of enjoyer mentality and anarthas from their heart. So Krishna is giving some treatment. So therefore, the suffering which non-devotees, there is a very great scholar of Vedic literature called Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. He has commented that the suffering which the devotees go through and the suffering which the non-devotees go through has a difference. So, the suffering which the non-devotees go through is like the beating up by an enemy. But the suffering which the devotees go through is like the chastisement which you get from a mother. Do you see the difference? Your enemy beats you. Why? Because he has vengeance against you and he wants to kill you. But your mother beats you up. Why? Because she loves you. She loves you. And she wants you to become perfect. How many of you got beaten up by your mother? I remember when I was a small child, I used to go out every day and we used to discuss how we got beaten up today. And then the other child would share, yeah, my father beat me like this, threw me out of the house, kicked me out of the house. That is their love. Because we got those beatings, we are sitting here today. When I was a small child, I was a very naughty child. My mother used to beat me up nicely. Because of those beatings. Now, I am a better cultured human being today because of the treatment which I got as a child. What to speak of me? Even Lord Krishna is being tied up by Mother Yashoda. The person who can never be tied agrees to get tied by his mother. So therefore, devotees don't go through suffering. Devotees get some treatment. You may see that somebody is chanting Hare Krishna. You may see, oh, that they are falling sick. Oh, you may see that they may, lose some relative. You may see that they may lose some money. You may see that they may meet an accident. But never ever think. Let's just see he's chanting Hare Krishna. Just see he's a devotee of Krishna. Still he's suffering. Their suffering is taking them back to Godhead. But the person who is not a devotee of Krishna, their suffering is making them entangled in the cycle of birth, death, old age, disease. Now do you understand why do we suffer? There are two kinds of people in this world, devotees, non-devotees. Non-devotees suffer because of their karmic reactions, which they have incurred in their previous lifetime and present lifetime. But the so-called suffering of the devotees is not actually a suffering. It is a personal treatment given by a mother or the Supreme Father, Krishna, which is helping them to become qualified to go back home, back to God. Okay. Now, another reason why, or another angle of this suffering is, we should suffer actually. If we do not suffer in this material world, then we'll start thinking this world is a very nice place. Let's make a skyscraper. Let's buy a house in the Burj Khalifa. Let's make a Taj Mahal and let's stay here eternally. We'll all feel like that, right? But Krishna says this world is a dukkhalayam. In fact, I'll tell you, this world is like a toilet. How many of you will enter a toilet and burn some incense, agarbatti there, put a bed there and sleep nicely? Toilet is a toilet. You just go finish your business and come out. Similarly, this material world is not a place fit for a gentleman to stay. We don't belong here. There is a reason why Krishna calls it as dukkhalayam, ashashvatam, anityam, asukham. We as spirit souls belong to the spiritual world. We have come here in this material world because of our own doings. We have to finish our business as early as possible, wrap up everything, no more birth, no more disease, no more old age, no more death. Think of Krishna at the time of death, go back home, back to God. If you think of your wife at the time of death, next life you become a woman. But if you think of Krishna at the time of death, then you go back home, back to Godhead. That is our real goal. So, 3 perspectives. Why do we suffer? Number 1, if we are devotees, which we should become, we suffer because Krishna wants us to become better, spiritually advanced devotees. Number 2, we suffer because out of ignorance, we start thinking this world is a very nice place. So to make us realize that this is not our home, sometimes suffering will come. And the 3rd reason why we suffer is a very sweet reason, which is very close to my heart. The very cooling moonlight, the full moonlight, the cooling, soothing full moonlight can be appreciated only after a hot afternoon. The glowing lamplight can be appreciated only after a phase of darkness. Similarly, the happiness of meeting the Lord can be experienced only after a short span of separation and hankering to meet Him. Do you understand? Only after a brief phase of suffering, when you meet the Lord, you will relish that. So therefore, you see in all the incarnations of the Lord, take the example of Devaki and Vasudeva. They went through suffering. But then one smile of Krishna was enough to wipe out millions of lifetimes of suffering. Please consider this point. One smile of Krishna was enough. But we need to go through that. Our situation is so bad, we are in so much ignorance that if we are with Krishna, we may start taking Him for granted. हाँ है उधर रूम में बैठा हुआ क्या करें दिन भर कितना बार जब भी जाएं हरे कृष्णा बोलना पड़े. What is this? This is not good. So sometimes in order to understand the importance of God, we need to become separated with God. But then we should make a good comeback. Therefore, just as the sunrise appears attractive because of the darkness of the night, just as the lamplight appears attractive in the darkness and not in the glaring light of the day, similarly, blissful appearance and activities of the Lord appear especially relishable after a brief phase of suffering. So I would like to conclude today's class with the summary of the entire lesson. Please listen very carefully. Suffering is inevitable in this world because that is how God has made the world. But by understanding that suffering is sanctioned by the Lord for our purification, and by learning to tolerate that suffering with a forgiving heart, while responsibly taking necessary corrective actions according to the divine teachings of Bhagavad Gita, one can transcend this world of suffering. So we were discussing today why we are suffering. What is the attitude of suffering and how to overcome suffering? The answer is here. Please listen again. This is the summary of the entire session. Suffering is inevitable in this world because that is how God has made the world. Nobody can say, I will not suffer. Suffering will come, has to come. But by understanding that if you're a devotee of the Lord, and by understanding that suffering has been sanctioned by the Lord for my own purification of heart, and if I learn to tolerate it with a forgiving heart, while responsibly taking necessary corrective actions according to the divine teachings of Bhagavad Gita, I can transcend suffering. Meaning to say, miseries will come in my life, but my consciousness is so high, in line with the Bhagavad Gita, in line with the teachings of the Acharyas. My consciousness is so high that even in this great environment of suffering, I'm still acting righteously according to the teachings of Bhagavad Gita. And I'm understanding that this suffering is coming to me because of my own past misdeeds, or it is coming to me for the purification of my heart, personally administered by the Lord. And by understanding that anyways this world is a dukkhalayam, as stated by Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita, with this consciousness, with this attitude, if I grow through that suffering, then I don't suffer at all. So that's why I say, misery is unavoidable, but suffering is optional. You may be surrounded by thousands of, we never say that by attending these life lessons from Vedic scriptures, no problems will come in your life. It may happen that after this class, your problems may become double. It may happen. But then if you have the right consciousness, the Arjuna consciousness, the Gita consciousness, then you will not suffer because of those problems. So just to revise what we studied today, we saw that we started, why do we suffer? We understood that suffering basically happens because of our own karmic reactions. We are not just one life, but we are a series of lifetimes. We are a spiritual body having a material body. And we took the example of the conversation between Parikshit Maharaj, the bull and the cow, how they were telling Parikshit Maharaj that ultimately the Lord is the cause of all causes. We derived a lesson that one should not blame the postman for the bad news. Similarly, if somebody is provoking us, mistreating us, we should not blame them. They are just the immediate cause. But the ultimate cause is my own karma. So I should not further intricate my karmic reactions by taking some steps there. In fact, I should just go through that provocation or insult or bad phase and nullify the karma and finish it off. So the real cause is that ultimately everything happens by the sanction of the Supreme Lord. Just like an expert physician may give you a painkiller just to subside the immediate cause, but actually goes to the root cause of the problem and treats it. So similarly, a sensible man should understand that whatever is necessary to reduce, curtail, abridge, compress the immediate cause, they have to do. But ultimately, the original or the ultimate cause is the Lord's will, for which we cannot do anything. So therefore, we have to have the right attitude of suffering. And the Bhagavad Gita says that you have to tolerate. Agamapaino anityastam titikshasva. First, learn to tolerate. And secondly, you should have the right consciousness while you're tolerating that. So the consciousness was, my dear Lord, one who earnestly waits for you to bestow your causeless mercy upon him, all the while patiently suffering the reactions of his past misdeeds and offering you respectful obeisances with his heart, words, and body, is surely eligible for liberation, for it has become his rightful claim. This is called as the attitude of suffering. And you should understand that ultimately everything comes from the mind. We took the example of Avanti Brahmana. where he understood that the people are not the cause of my distress or happiness. Neither the demigods, nor my own body, nor the planets, nor my past work, neither the time. It is my mind alone which is the cause of happiness and distress and is perpetuating my rotation in material life. And then we saw that even if we are in a hopeless situation, that hopeless situation becomes hopeful by taking shelter of Krishna or God. We gave the example of Devaki and Vasudeva, how she was about to be killed by Kamsa, and Vasudeva did whatever was necessary. Although he could not completely avoid the result of imprisonment and the death of his sons, but in that situation also, to protect the interests of Krishna, he did whatever was humanly possible from his side, and then he grew through the suffering, understanding it that it is a divine plan of the Lord. Then we saw that non-devotees are suffering. Those who are not the devotees of Krishna, they are suffering because of their karmic reaction. But those who have surrendered to Krishna, like all of you surrendered today, for them, karmic reactions are not coming. We understood that non-devotees suffering is like getting beaten up by an enemy. But devotees suffering is like getting chastisement from a mother. We understood that God is personally intervening in the life of his devotees, trying to remove their lust, anger, greed, illusion, enviousness, and attachments by giving them personal treatments to remove the last vestiges of enjoyer mentality from their heart, making them qualified to go back home, back to Godhead, which is our original home. We also understood that if we will, while being devotees of Krishna, if we don't little bit get some suffering, then we'll start thinking that this world is a very nice place, let me stay here forever. And so to remind us that we are in Dukhalayam, sometimes suffering is given. And lastly, just like the lamp light can be appreciated only after darkness, so similarly, the blissful appearance and the activities of the Lord are especially relishable after a brief phase of suffering. So this is the reason why devotees also suffer. And then the summary is suffering is inevitable in this world because that is how God has made the world. But by understanding that suffering is sanctioned by the Lord for our purification, and by learning to tolerate the suffering with a forgiving heart while responsibly taking corrective actions under the guidance of Bhagavad Gita, one can transcend the suffering. One can overcome the suffering. Miseries will be there, but suffering will be optional. So on this note, I would like to close today's discussion, especially for those who are online. Apologies, there's no light here, but hope you were able to hear everything. For those who are online, we'd like to end the session here. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna.